There is something interesting that is going on right now. I'm actually a day 70 of showing up here every single day. And in this season, instead of being at that level where I feel like I'm getting clearer, I actually feel like a little messy. There's just something that just doesn't align. I just want to reflect on that in this video today because my views have dipped. In my shorts, right, I normally average around 300 to 700 views. And in my last one, I got 7 views. I think I kind of like would associate that with it's the first time I actually linked my shorts to a long form, and I haven't done shorts in a long time. And yeah, so I had 7, which was kind of like, ooh. And then I'm beginning to notice just in myself, like, am I confusing folks? Am I confusing people here? Like, am I going too broad? Because wanting to have YouTube as its own ecosystem, and am I losing control in my messaging? You know, those are kind of like the questions I'm reflecting on what's going on. So today isn't some big, say, teaching or reflection or like review or whatever. It's more I just want to talk about what's happening while I build this thing publicly, what's going on, how things are flowing, how yeah, like what's going on with the wobbly numbers and all those things. Yeah, that's where I want to roll with this today. Just reflecting 70 days. So I'm celebrating that fact that I've done that, even the days where blank, the days where I've had such a long day, couldn't still showed up, still brought the energy, still like we get to do this, knowing okay, best time to like really do this thing is like first thing in the morning and wanting things to like plan out so that that happens. So in a way, getting the consistency to show up and to film, I feel I have a rhythm in that. So that's great. And then having this space to be just let's see what happens, where this takes me. And what I found with showing up is having that understanding that everything that I have pivoted from, it all boils down to the same thing. It all kind of like in the same thing that I'm offering. Because I thought, by day 70, right, I would have known like what people are wanting. I'll be having like the connection, not that I'll be having like massive views or whatever, but I'll be having like people who are like quite interested in what I'm doing. And uh at least I'll have that momentum. I do have like a couple of people who I know that watch my stuff every time. And I've actually had feedback from was like, it might be on the long side. But I'm wanting to like just, I guess, attract people that are used to just, like when you're doing stuff and you're playing in the background or you're listening, you're doing something else or you're watching. That's kind of like people I want. Like you want to have that focus time, you're listening while doing something. The kind of like folks that I'm wanting to appeal to or interested in. So it's not like the quick, snappy entertainment kind of like thing to do that. No, this is more like deep or having deep conversation, like congruence and feeling and all those things. So that's kind of like I was thinking by now would have gotten some momentum, some feeling, some that. And then when now you're having this deep from feeling like, oh, I was having the one and then the 10 and 15 and 20 and then there was this hype from an event that a thing I did and then went back and now literally back to like one no views, and it was triggering, not triggering that like, oh man, what the heck are we doing or what's whatever. It's just kind of like reflective. And let's look at this. Let's figure out what's going on. What's happening here. And I guess when I decided when I wanted to do this for the next year, I was like, we would just not niching myself in any way. I'm just going to speak to the thing of the becoming. Like, let's see what this like what's going to happen here and how that's going to roll and who I am building for. But the good thing is, as I'm showing up, I'm realizing that I'm showing up for someone who already knows what they want. They already know what, like, they're they know what they're doing, in a sense that what they need to do to get to that next level, but they're not actually, they're just delaying stepping in or doing that. And my role here is just supporting them in making that moving forward, taking it from there. So yeah, technically that is who you know, I'm speaking to here, are people who they know they want more, right? And in their work, in their business, in their life, the desire for more. At the same time, they're delaying that next level, taking that next move because they don't know, they don't feel that they're fully ready yet. They want it, but there's something that is, they feel like I get to do this, have like this has to happen for me to then feel or do or whatever the main thing. Yeah. And what I've now gotten clarity in showing up here for the last 70 days is that is supporting folks in stopping the waiting to feel ready and start moving in real time. As we know, action comes. Like the confidence comes through the action and the clarity comes through that and all those things. So as we're doing it, the thing, we're now stepping into that thing and having to wait, oh, let me have this. No, no, no. So yeah, that's kind of like who I am getting clarity in what this gets to look like. So it feels broad. So I'm speaking to the pattern of what is showing up. Because I've always like hammered in, like when I speak to like my mentors or other people, like things like that, it's like, who are you speaking to? What are they? What kind of like, it's like, oh yeah, it has to be professional, it has to be this. So what I initially thought was, okay, I'm going to speak to this kind of people here, and then in other social media platform, I'll be speaking to who I was speaking to last year, my interpreters and translators, and that's how I was kind of like juggling it, and it got to a point where I was only showing up here on YouTube, and everywhere else was like ghost town on my thing. And then I started like just dropping on gems and the threads. Yeah, it was just for the last month, nothing really like surfaced. And then I feel like here, my audience is quite cold in a sense because I've had this thing for I've been here the longest time. I don't know how long I should like check, but it's been a couple of years. And over time I've collected subscribers along the way. And over time, the people and the things I was speaking to and I was doing have changed over the time. So what I was doing couple of years ago is not what I am talking about now or doing now. So whoever had followed me at that time to that enjoyed or liked what I was doing, might not be into what I'm talking about now or my structure or how things are flowing. So hence that I have a cold audience right now. And I'm only showing here. And the system as YouTube as a whole is still trying to figure out, Nene, what are you talking about? What's going on? And yeah, it does not, it's not making sense. It's not being clear on what that means to the system. I was thinking by now it would have an idea and start like showing my stuff to other people. And I guess a lot of factors play into it, the watch time, they showing, maybe I don't even know how the thing works here. So now I'm like, okay, now in the season of it is time to start cross pollinating. Where like I'm now realizing that, man, it's time to like get other places know that Nene is doing stuff here. And yeah, so I started off just posting on threads and hinting here and there, but not always like actively showing like this is what I'm doing. So it is time to not build in isolation anymore and just think, okay, YouTube will figure it out for me. YouTube has tried, has given me the clarity that my what I am wanting to speak towards or what I want to support people in is the pattern that is showing up in up leveling them to that next thing. And while the system gets what Nene's doing, it is time to go other places. And then the question comes in other platform, I'm known for my interpreting and translating. And wanting to now say take clips from here to show there, kind of like talk about what I'm doing over there, can be diluted or confusing even more so in those other platform. So now I was thinking, okay, I can do the same message but speaking to different people. And the realization that, yeah, it could happen, it could work, but at the same time, I'll be confusing people. Because if someone finds me on YouTube and I say, oh, let's go and see like where you are in other places, and then realize, oh, she's speaking to interpreters. But I'm not an interpreter. Even though what I'm doing is now focusing on the pattern, because whatever I'm doing can also support an interpreter where the say for instance, right, when we really look at it, if I'm being more specific in what in my work is, it is more the highly functioned people in whatever in the career, the business, whatever that is, they it's not beginning level people. Like they know their stuff. Like they're just in that expansion point. In that they know they want more. They know they want that more visibility. If that's the thing for them. They want more income. They want more leadership, just ownership in whatever it is that they're building. That's the thing, right? And it's now time to step up to the thing that they want to do. And here comes the delay in the moving, because yeah, they're not tapped into what it is. So if I'm now looking back at my intents and translators, which is like my core, like my lived experience and who I support and other things, is like, say for instance, someone who is okay, they have like stages. Let's just speak to like the sign language interpreter, the British Sign Language, and the system, how that one works. You have like stages and you have that final thing, then you become fully qualified. You can opt to just a year or two of grace, I think you're given before you have to do the thing. Like, oh yeah, I will do that later when I'm like I've cleaned up this area. I can really my receptive skills is sharp. I understand this, and then I'll go and do that. This is someone that wants to expand. They want that next level, but they're holding the move because they feel this has to happen. When truly, if they step into that, it will support them in whatever it is they're doing. Because of that block, that is showing up for them, maybe it feels like they'll be found out, or the hesitation there, the imposter syndrome, whatever it is. So that pattern of like, I know what I want, but I just can't right now because I want to work on this, when truly, if you step in, you're still in training, you can be focused and support you in getting that, those things you feel like you need working. When you step in there, you do the work, right? Than thinking, oh, let me just. Mm-mm. So that's an example of like an interpretive thing. Okay, now let's talk about like how that would look like for a coach. A coach knows that, look, I need to show up online. I need to do my thing to refine, like, and then they're hesitating the posting. They're wanting the perfectionism. I'm this high person, and here is me wanting to, not sure. When core, it's about maybe how people might perceive them as someone who maybe has this level of authority here, and then now coming to be seen starting small, or not having clear, or it's not polished, or it's not as the image or the level in which they are, and then coming out feeling very awkward because they're not used to being on camera. They're very stretched, like all those things. Again, they need to step up, they need to elevate, but there is that bridge, that gap that's holding them back. So hence the pattern is there as well. So we have the interpreter, we have the coach, and then we have the professional person who wants to take a lead in a pitch, or they want to like really lead their team, or stepping into that role of leading, or doing whatever. Again, they're waiting until they have more confidence to now say, yes, I can do this. Until they now say, okay, let me show up, and whatever that is. So that again, there is that thing that's holding that move of wanting to have that leadership, wanting to pitch that I can do this, but still not putting themselves, let me be confident enough to then do that. Again, that hence the pattern. So there's they're all different people, my interpreters and translators, my coaches and healers and stuff, professional in career, whatever it is, it's the pattern. So it seems broad, because they're all capable. They all know their stuff. They're all operating, doing their thing. They're just, what's happening is just postponing their expansion. And I have been in this situation. The same thing is true here. Like, even in this motion, as I'm doing this, like a lot of things are just coming up for me, of what is showing up for me on how this is for me. Like how I'm being understood, and then the clarity, like now, okay, let's take this now to other places. And it's like, oh, here we go again. It feels like we're starting all over again, and then trying to get the messaging, even though I'm literally doing the same thing. I'm just somewhat being broader, if that makes sense. So my take now is, instead of confusing folks of like just YouTube being its own ecosystem, I feel it's now time to speak the same language everywhere for me, so that this messy period would become clearer than, oh yeah, I'm speaking to my interpreters here, and then I come here and I'm speaking to like the pattern. Let's take it everywhere. So hence we'll be singing from the same hymn sheet, and it's all about the becoming, the stepping up to the next level, the core of what, of who I'm wanting to support, are capable professionals with hesitation. They know their stuff. They've got this. They have an idea of what that next level for them looks like, what that next move for them is. With that being said, there is that thing that is holding the process, holding that elevation, that identity disalignment, that it's not congruent. So many things that gets to be sorted out to make the move, to step up. Yeah. So now I'm not more speaking to a demographics, I'm speaking to the patterns that are showing up. And I feel that would then help me start showing up in other platform while I show up there. Then I can then have more eyeballs that are more into. So maybe I go into bits and bobs and then they come here for like the full length and then they can really get in and tap into the understanding on whatever it is that I'm talking about. That's the plan. We're moving forward with. This is what I am thinking, how I want to step up going further. Yeah, because as we know, growth is not linear. It's not just gonna be like, yeah, it's like this. We're going into that direction. So it's up and down because you're listening. I have to always keep remind myself, like sometimes like I've been in a situation where I side note. I'm listening to something and then they're like me. We like I do action things and they will say something and then you'd be like, okay, what you're listening, and then you have to like go back and like, oh, they went like that. So yeah, I have to remind myself that some people might just be listening. So you need to describe what you're showing so they get what you're saying. Yeah, be more. And it's just being okay with the this algorithm thing. Because as we're going on, again, it's not the hundreds and thousands of people that one needs. It's speaking to the right one person that may might just even see one video and be like, Nene, where do we start? Like what's going on? How do we move on? Because this feels it feels I feel more calmer than because of it's case of the reason why I haven't gone on other platform lately is like, oh, okay, how do I tie in or use this or like think about that? So now that if everything's going to be the same, it'd be easier to have the expansion and that stability will come in first. So it's leading in like, okay, the identity first, and then what that gets to look like, what we're expanding into is what we then take it from there. That is how I am intending to roll, intending to move forward, intending to step into this space. Because what I found even in last year when I was doing those challenges for my interpreters and translators, and we had those interesting things, I found the people who worked with me long term and people who were not interpreters per se. This is now moving a year on from there. I'm now having opportunity to show up in front of interpreters. And I feel like from that, things will transpire and things will show up. But it's yeah, I'm excited for this new season. And this is correlating with this, we're in the is it the emerging horse era with the Chinese calendar thing? Like this is striding into that, so that the clarities come in, the chapter of certain things closing, going to show up in other places. So I am excited. I am excited for what is to come, excited for this clarity. And I'm just excited that as I'm showing up, I'm getting more clearer in what this gets to look like. Yeah, my thoughts now on how things are and how it was in the beginning when we started this commitment, it's totally different. Yeah, I assume there'll be some kind of like the momentum and the clarity, but I'm glad because I have confused this system so long that I am ready now to just be still and just see what happens given this its time it needs to germinate and it being okay with being understood, and not necessarily like, okay, yes, the check-in book. Because before I used to feel like, okay, they got it, they saw it, so why didn't they take the leap? And it's having understanding that as long as I keep showing up, when they are ready, they would know who to come to. That's where I'm going with, like, with this. I signed up for the year, right? And we are doing this. And with that, it could be, who knows? It will click in. It'll be, and I'll have this much better understanding of how I want to build it. I have the concept, I have the idea. Now it's time to show up, to take this forward. And yeah, I'm excited of how it is flowing, what this gets to look like. And yeah, my vision for what the next 70, or like even the next, when we get to the 100-day mark, yeah, what I'm wanting to, like, that would be, yeah, so that would take us for another, what, 30 days. And when I'm now cross-pollinating, who knows, we can come back and say, baby, we're don't worry about the, like, how many views, but we're speaking to the people because we're having conversation. And that's what I want. I just want us to get to the point where we're actually physically having conversation, and the support, and like the work and the testimonials and stuff, and having people that is, oh yeah, Nene did that, like supported me in this. Or even if I'm seeing other people, I know that yes, I had a hand in that. It just brings me joy to get to that next level. So I am excited for what the next 30 days is going to bring. That's the next checkpoint that I want to really check in and see. Celebrating 70 days of building this muscle, of fitting it in with my busy life, reflecting on what this means for me in this season and how it rolls. I am excited and taking the steps, not feeling overwhelmed of how this is going to be, like, now I'm going up to other places, doing it manageably, as I am now taking clips and things from here, saying some reflecting things that those platforms require for those spaces, start changing my bio in all those other places, and start reflect, like, on what that gets to look like. Because everywhere else is interpreter, interpreter, interpreter. So now we will start changing up things and start refining, and we'll see what the next 30 days would be. I'm going to do this, I'll still be here. We'll still be refining, we'll still be doing our thing, we'll still continue to show up and to work on this new plan, cross-pollinating, getting some more ideas, showing up, getting clearer in how we hold on to the retention of getting, like, watching longer, getting the engagement going again and improving on that, and getting the likes and more subscribers, and who knows where we'll be in the next 30 days. I am excited. Remember that your voice matters and it's your time to use it. Nene here, and bye for now.